Today I wanted to show you how I made this dancing walk cycle animation in After Effects with Duke. I created this animation after watching the Skillshare class by the greatest After Effects teacher Jake Bartlett, and after I posted it as a project I received this super nicest message asking me if I can show how exactly I achieved this chill and dancing walk cycle. So that's why I'm here today doing my first ever tutorial video. This video will consist of several parts: how I prepared my work in Illustrator, imported the file into After Effects, and rigged and animated everything with Duke. So let's start with the Illustrator file. To design a character for animation, we need to decide what is the end result is going to look like. I just wanted to achieve this simple walking cycle animation, that's it. I'm not planning to animate facial features, so as you can see they're all grouped together with the head on the same layer and together with the top hair as well as the fingers. You can see this hand is super simple and this hand even attached to the player. So what is going to be animated? It's a walk cycle, so legs and arms are going to be moving and bending. To design the limbs for the rig, we need to give them this kind of round edges at the bending points like I have here. So this way when the character is walking they will not have those weird kind of edges like this. I also have the guides layer just for the reference where it's best to rotate the joints from. In case you want to follow along with this video, you can find the link to the Illustrator file in the description as well as the After Effects file. Now we are ready to send our artwork to After Effects. We can send the artwork to After Effects in a few ways, and the easiest would be using Overlord plugin. Just put every part on their separate layers, name them to not get lost later when we are having like 300 layers in After Effects. Then check your artboard dimension and create a composition in After Effects with exactly the same dimensions and name it artwork. Then select all the layers and hit push selection to After Effects. And magic, we got all the layers nice and named in After Effects. Another way would be importing the Illustrator file into After Effects. Just choose composition and layer sizes. Okay, let's start animating in After Effects. I'm going to look the background and the guide layers, and for the easier navigation it's good to color label all the layers because we're going to have a lot of them very soon with Duke. I will give each arm and each leg their own color and a color for spine structure, which is basically everything else. So the hips, the sweater, neck, head, and also belt. And also one more color for all the elements parented to the head, all the hair layers and the headset. Next step is placing the anchor points in the places where the layer is going to be rotated from. So let's go limb by limb to not miss anything out, and I'm using the guides I created in After Effects to place anchor points. So for the right arm the anchor points goes here, for arm here, and head doesn't matter that much, so I didn't create a guide, but roughly about here. We can parent the layers to each other to see if everything works correctly, and if it's good, repeat for the other layers. Okay, and now the shoes. You can see shoe is just its own layer with a lot of complexity to it, with all the shoelaces and this line, and that's why it will be easier to approach it differently by using the puppet pin tool. So this is the Duke structure for the foot, and as you can see we need to have layers for the places where the feet connects to the cuff, and foot to toes and toe tips. So let's go ahead and follow in the guides, add those pins and also name them, and change the engine to Legacy because that's what's going to be working better in this situation. Now hit U to bring up all the keyframes created by the puppet pin tool, select them all, go to Duke links and constraints and hit add pins. Now all the pins are on their separate layers and we're able to link them to the corresponding structures. I'm also going to add those two pins at the top of the shoe to control it to follow the calf, and I'll show what I mean in just a moment. I also want to add two pins to the sweater. My character doesn't have a body layer and I want the bottom part of the sweater be linked to the hips and upper to the neck, so I'll just go ahead and add those two pins and keep adjusting the anchor points, and if everything works correct, it's finally time to move to Duke. Alright, let's copy this composition and keep the unrigged version as a backup. Rename it Bones and open it. Once again we go limb by limb. Select the right arm, right forearm and right hand. Always select the layers in this order from the root to the tip. Find the bones, tap in Duke, hominoid, arm, and we don't have the shoulder, so uncheck that part. Select the right and front and hit arm. Then once again select the artwork layers and hit link art. For the leg, let's select the thigh, calf, foot, toes and leg tip. Go to Duke, bones, leg, choose the side and location and hit leg. Then once again link art, check that everything works and bends correct. Okay, those two pins aren't linked to any bone, and basically what we want for them is to follow the rest of the shoe for now. So let's link them to this pin over here like so, and now it works, and later we'll keyframe them frame by frame to follow the cuff. Now I will fast forward, repeat the left arm and leg. And now it's time for the spine structure. Everything is going to be linked to. Let's select the hips, the neck, the head, and go to the spine menu and check only the layers we have, which means 0 spine bones and 1 neck bone. Hit the spine and manually link all the orange layers to it. The hips, the belt, as well as the bottom pin for the sweater will go to the hips bone, neck goes to neck, head goes to head, upper sweater also goes to neck. Now we want to link thighs bones to the hips bone, arms bones to the sweater's upper pin because we want them to rotate from this point. And now one easy way to check whether we didn't forget anything is by selecting the hips layer and moving it. If nothing left behind, then we're good. Let's once again duplicate the composition, call it the rig, and open it. Select all the bone layers, go to the links and constraints, tap in Duik and hit auto rig. Great, now everything is controlled by those controllers, so we don't need the bones, pins and gate layers. Let's hide, shade and lock them all to decrease the number of layers. Now I'll just select all the controllers layers and add 0 to 0 out the position. And now I can move everything around and easily return it to the original position. By the way, as I mentioned before, this is my first tutorial video ever, so if you're still here and watching, please let me know by sending a comment down below or just giving this video a like. This will make me know that it's interesting and useful for you. Okay, now everything is ready for the walk cycle. Let's once again duplicate the composition, name it auto walk, open it, select all the controllers, go to Duik, automation and expression and hit walk run cycle. And just like that, in just one click, our fantastic walk cycle is done without adding a single keyframe. Isn't it crazy? Yeah, well, the feet definitely are a bit crazy. Let's just fix them first. Let's drag this walk cycle icon out so it's very easy to find and select it. Go to the legs and just dial down the foot rotation, like way down. Okay, something like that looks fine. Better. Now it's time to add some personality, and the first thing we're going to do to make it look more dancey is to go to walk cycle type and switch it to dancing mode. And we got maybe not a dancey but a very jumpy girl. Next thing I see is that this walking is not really chill, and I really wish she walks slower so she won't break her knees. So how do we do that? You might think that changing walk speed would help exactly with that, but nope, it actually just changes the step widths. Kind of like general motion, but without affecting the hands. The best way I found to change the speed is by going into the character and changing the height. The taller the character is, the longer it takes to make a step. Makes sense. So this is 300% height character and this is 30% height character. And I'll go for something like 160 this time. To render faster, let's also shorten the composition to keep just one step loop. Now let's go back to the speed settings and make the step a bit wider. Maybe lower the hips a bit. And now I just wanted to say that when you're animating with the controllers and not with the keyframes, it's all about experimenting. At least that's what I feel about it. I got that animation by doing lots of small tweaks and just trying things out, and it turned out pretty cool and people seems to be liking it. So I'd just say imagine what you want to achieve and the result, and try to just change some small things around to reach that kind of movement. For example, now I imagine the hands have more movements, like she is slightly dancing while she's walking. So let's go to the arm settings and try to move things around. The shoulder swings wouldn't change much since we don't have any shoulder joint. For the arm swings, about 69 looks pretty nice. And let's try also some softness. I'm not sure how it should be used, but I just love the effect it creates. That's exactly what I want. Now I just want to make sure that the elbows are not bending backwards, because sometimes it happens with the softness. Let's just quickly fix it by going to the forearm bone, temporarily showing it, and bend just a bit forward. Great. Hide the bone and reveal the body. Great, now it's not bending backwards. Next step, I'm imagining the body should also be swinging more with the hands movement. Let's find the body and start tweaking some settings. We don't have spine and torso, so no need to try them. For the hips, I'll go around 30, and wow, that looks fun, but maybe a little bit too much. Like 16 looks nice. Spine softness, once again, I don't have spine, and the body transition just makes your knees pop so much, so no, I don't want it. And I'm pretty happy with the result. If you're following this tutorial and you will come up with some new cool walking cycle with Duik, please tag me and I'd be so excited to see what you come up with. Now let's finally fix those shoes, which is pretty easy. It's just gonna take a little bit of time because we're gonna go frame by frame, but to speed up the process a little bit, I'll first add the adjustment layer and posterize the time down to 12 frames per second. And now we have twice less frames to animate. Next step, I went ahead and finished up all the details. First of all, I fixed the S, which looked a little bit too flat even for this design. Added the shadows, animated the music bubble, the player wire, added the road, animated the road, and also added some animations to her hair and clothes using the puppet pin tool, null objects, and turbulent displays. This video got a bit longer than I expected, so I didn't include those steps in the tutorial, but if you're interested in how I've done any of those steps, please leave a comment below and maybe I'll make another video. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.